Hello guys and welcome to all those training to become Super Saiyans. This is Revolution. So on this video what I'm going to be discussing is basically something that's hypothetical, something that may or may not occur down the line, but I want to discuss it because ever since their inception, now I'm talking about Zeno's attendants, bodyguards, guards, whatever you want to call them, ever since their inception in Dragon Ball Super episode 40, Zeno's attendants have been basically pretty secretive and ominous since. Now obviously this video is called Could Zeno's Attendants Be Evil? Now from what we've seen so far, they take guarding the Omni King Zeno incredibly seriously. They act in unison with each other. Now, in terms of acting in unison, Whis has stated if Goku and Vegeta could manage to act in unison, they would be able to take on Beerus. But these two do it perfectly. But they are literally guarding the single most important entity in the whole multiverse in Dragon Ball Super. And they seem to be quite vigilant and they seem very fierce in their protection of him. But who exactly are they, and why does the Omni King Zeno need someone to protect him in the first place? After all, he could wipe out the whole multiverse in the blink of an eye. Beerus even confirmed that in the Future Trunks saga, where basically Zamasu was firing energy balls from his essence in the sky at Goku, Vegeta and Trunks, but he couldn't do it to Zeno, so that proves that Zeno can literally do it in an instant. Well, in terms of protecting Zeno, you could say that Zeno isn't a fighter. That has also been confirmed by Whis and Beerus. Basically, he doesn't need to fight. If he wants to erase you, he can erase you, as we saw him do to Zamasu. But while Zeno isn't a fighter, he clearly needs protecting, as he wouldn't have attendants or bodyguards in the first place. Which begs the question, what exactly is Zeno's weakness if he does have one? I mean, that could be a video for another day. But just to add to that, when Toppo jumped onto the stage in the preliminaries to the Tournament of Power, not just Zeno's guards, but also the Daishinkan formed a shield in front of Zeno. Now, in terms of the Daishinkan, we've heard quite a lot about him now. We know that he's the Grand Priest of the Angels, and the Angels look after the Gods of Destruction, Hakaishin. And Whis even then goes on to confirm that the Daishinkan is rumoured to be among the top 5 fighters in the universe. Now when he says universe, what he actually means is the whole multiverse, and even the whole entity that Zeno's house is literally sitting on. Now, I've done a video about why the Dragon Ball Superverse is bigger than you think. I'll link that at the end of the video because I think it's a really intriguing video and I really suggest you watch it if you haven't seen it already. But if the Daishinkan is one of the strongest beings on that whole entity, and why isn't the Daishinkan himself Zeno's attendant or guard? Now, maybe he has a job being the Grand Priest, but what it suggests to me is that in terms of those top 5 fighters in the multiverse, Zeno's guards have to be taken into consideration. When they first appeared in the God of Destruction tournament, Beerus and Champa were stopped in their tracks and they respected these two guards. And when Goku approached Zeno in that same episode, these guards travelled through a portal almost instantaneously to block Goku's path. And for a moment, Goku didn't want any of that. He was starting to back off until Zeno said it was okay that Goku approach him. So it's blatantly obvious that these guards are incredibly powerful, as well as the fact they move in unison. They will be incredibly tough to take down, especially with their portal manipulation movement, and they do look pretty tough. Now, you probably noticed since Future Zeno came back from the future, well, more of these attendants have shown up. There used to be 2 and now there are 4. So basically there are 2 attendants for 1 Zeno. So who exactly is commissioning these attendants to bodyguard Zeno? Now, it could be the Grand Priest, but what it makes you wonder is, where exactly are these attendants coming from? Are they gods? We don't know because they don't seem to have a role as a god within the multiverse. And the angels have their role in looking after the Hakaishin and making sure they don't go out of control. But one thing we've learned in the god hierarchy from the Dragon Ball verse is that somebody is always in charge of somebody else. Obviously, when we got the original god in Dragon Ball, which was Kami, he then went on to have the King Kai as his higher god, and then King Kai was one of the cardinal Kais who was under order from the Grand Kai, and then the Grand Kai was under order from the Supreme Kai, and then the Supreme Kai and the Hakaioshin are under order from the Grand Priest and Zeno. And given that Zeno isn't an omnipotent, you wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody above him. But the general rule of thumb in Dragon Ball is when there's a race of some beings, there is always a leader. Now, I don't know where these attendants are from, whether they are from within the multiverse, whether they're from a similar place to wherever the angels are from. Once again, we don't know where the angels are from either, but going back to that image of Zeno's mansion on top of that jellyfish looking like creature, as you can see, the Dragon Ball verse is absolutely enormous. There are other universes in the back, considering that the Dragon Ball multiverse, universe 1 to 12, and considering there used to be 18 as well, is all atop this jellyfish. Looking into the distance, there is so much room for expansion and races, so they might not be from that plane of existence where Zeno, Goku and the gang are from. Anyway, I digress. If these attendants, or whatever their race is called, has a leader, that leader is in an incredibly powerful position. Now, often in the community, we've often tried to portray the Daishinkan as this upcoming evil being who is going to turn on Zeno and all the universes. And there's been plenty of subtle hints in the Dragon Ball Super show itself that could suggest that, and that could potentially still happen. Zeno's attendants or bodyguards have literally become almost non-existent characters. They are just in the background, basically doing their job, but like I've said, they have the position of closest contact to Zeno. Now, Zeno in the past has threatened to erase them before, and you could see that they were worried about erasure, so I'm not going to go ahead and say they're as strong as Zeno, but clearly there is no empathy towards their job from Zeno himself. So it does make you wonder, would they be so loyal to Zeno considering Zeno would happily wipe them out? Now, for a long time we were under the impression that there could be only 2 of these attendants, but now we know there are more because 2 just magically appeared when future Zeno came. So if there are more of this race and they can travel through portals, and the beings who are of the same race are the ones protecting Zeno, who isn't a fighter, remember. If he can't see them coming, he wouldn't be able to protect himself if his bodyguards who are there to do that job for him won't do it for him. He would be in serious trouble. Now, obviously, this would mean that these attendants have conspired against Zeno. And in terms of that in the show so far, there hasn't been a lot of foreshadowing. It's been mainly giving us subtle hints that the Daishinkan could be evil. But what a diversion it would be if in the Tournament of Power, when the conclusion is about to come to unfold, that the gods actually kill Zeno or do something of that ilk. The inclusion of Zeno being Goku's friend in Dragon Ball Super is actually becoming a bit of a problem in terms of creating future stories in Dragon Ball, because Goku has the Zeno button. He can literally call the most powerful entity in the multiverse at any point. The only way Akira Toriyama and the creators at Toei can create a credible threat towards Goku and the gang is if they remove Zeno from the equation, at least momentarily. Now, the Daishinkan has appeared kind at times. That could be a diversion again, but also his children, the angels, have also appeared to show kindness. So it would be a bit of a upset if the angels or some of the angels did turn. But these gods look really shady. In fact, they have creepy eyes. They look like they could be evil. Toriyama loves to throw us curveballs and he loves to trick us and surprise us. So what bigger surprise could there be if these gods, who haven't really been that prominent since their inception in the show, were to literally either beat down or kill off the most powerful entity in the multiverse? So like I said, guys, this is a completely hypothetical situation, and the question I want to ask to you is, would a swing from the Attendants be a bigger shock than a swing from the Daishinkan? And do you think these Attendants are from in-universe, like Universe 1 to 12, or even possibly from the universes 13 to 18, if that were their original numbers before Zeno destroyed them? Or do you think, like I said, they could be from out the multiverse or from outside the megaverse, you could say, that Zeno's house resides on? Or could they belong to an even higher race that's above Zeno? Now, this is just me speculating, but I don't believe the God hierarchy will end with the Omni King Zeno. Let me know your thoughts on all these subjects in the comments section. If you like my videos, make sure you smash that like button with a big bang attack. And remember one very important final message. If you stay calm in any vexing situation, you will never, ever become a Super Saiyan. Make sure you click that subscribe button to make sure you get all my latest content straight to your account as soon as it's released. And here are some more videos from my library, which I'm sure you will all enjoy.